Hi, my name is Rev and this is Winston, and today I'm going to be showing you my 1986 Ford E150 Club Wagon. I'm going to be doing a van tour. This is actually the second van tour that I've done of this van, but I've made lots of great changes and I'm super excited to show you what I've done. Let's go! Welcome to my Club Wagon. There it is. I will do my best in order to provide links in the description to all of the items that you see here today. I'll do my best in order to provide links in the description to all of the items that you see here today, but there are quite a few, so if I miss anything, feel free to drop a comment and I will go ahead and do my best to get that link to you. Let's go ahead and get started. So first we'll go ahead here and we are going to discuss this flooring. So this is vinyl flooring, and originally there was bright red carpet, which you can see some remnants of in the front of the vehicle. We went ahead and removed the carpet and used that as a template in order to place the vinyl flooring. So this is made up of 3 layers. We have the polyiso layer, then we did the plywood, and then lastly the actual vinyl flooring you can see here in front of you. We picked all of these items up at Home Depot, and we used the original carpet as the template in order to cut these pieces out. When we removed the carpet, we ended up vacuuming and then treating some rust holes, and then just placing the ISO polyboard directly onto the floor of the van. We did not glue it. The only glue we used was between the plywood and the vinyl flooring. We did not think that we needed it, and so far that does seem to be the case. Then we'll go ahead and touch on the actual insulation for the walls. So the insulation here, we can actually see here a little bit inside the doors. This is Thinsulate. We removed the original insulation, vacuumed, and then added Thinsulate. And we actually did this in winter when it was 30 degrees. And the difference from the before and after made me a complete believer in the Thinsulate, even though it was quite expensive, over $100. Then we'll go ahead and discuss the cabinets. You can see that I have quite a few cabinets here. All but one of these cabinets was actually purchased at IKEA. I would not recommend purchasing cabinets from IKEA. They ended up being far more expensive and time-consuming to modify to suit my needs, and it is much cheaper and easier to go to, for an example, an estate sale or a thrift store and get something that would work a lot better and have less need for the modifications. This ended up being both costly in time and in money. Taking a look here, for example, we purchased this cabinet from IKEA, and originally it was just a basic cabinet for baskets. We had to cut a hole in it in order to fit the sink, and we also had to add sliding doors to the front because it didn't have any. This worked well for us, but it was very time consuming. I will never get this recording done. Do you want to be in my video? Because I'll make it happen. In contrast, well, the IKEA, both in time and money, probably cost well over $200. Ultimately, we have this cabinet that I purchased at a thrift store for $15 and has worked well. Additionally, we did also add sliding doors to underneath the cabinets here to cover the wheel well for extra storage, and the wheels are covered in Reflectix for a little extra insulation. I want to take a moment to address this storage solution. So I have this in a few different areas. Here I have it for storing my laptop and some computer equipment. Here I have the same functionality for storing shoes. And then additionally, I also have it storing toilet paper and paper towels here. I highly recommend this. It's very easy to build, actually. You don't need much. You can use glue, screws, and then you're just drilling holes, and you can get the stretchy rope here from Amazon. I'll put a link in the description. Makes it very easy from a storage perspective, and storage is a premium in these vans. Then taking a look here at my kitchen area in more detail, I wanted to go ahead and actually call out this faucet. So this is a rechargeable faucet which connects to my 5-gallon drum here for water. This is controlled just by the push of a button, and water will then come out, and I'll put a link in the description for this one. I happened to see this in another YouTuber's video and I thought it was very cool. I also am personally proud of this solution for my dog's dog food. I got one of these bags for the backs of your car seats on Amazon, and I was able to place it here and store his dog food very easily for simple access. Then also, if you've noticed here, I've actually turned on the lights. So if we move up here, you can see that we have built cabinets on the top here with the express purpose of adding LED lights. So you can see them there. These lights are connected here to this charging station. And so we've got a couple different areas here to discuss. Oh, look, it's me. Talking through the power station in more detail here, we have the 12-volt cigarette lighter. We have 2 areas here for charging USB. Then we have a couple of different switches. At the moment, I'm only using 2. These switches we have connected through electrical directly to the battery itself. Because they are LED, they draw very little power, and so we decided that it would be relatively safe to be able to do that. Then taking a look at the cabinets as a whole, I also wanted to call out these blinds. I purchased these on Amazon, and they're great little blinds. I'll link them in the description as well. I ended up deciding to go with, rather than making my own, I just went with the options that were available online, so it ended up being like 2 blinds per window. And I'm perfectly fine with that. Just pull these down, and you're pretty much good to go for all of the main side windows here. Then, taking a look at the front of the van, we have added curtains both to the side here as well as to the front of the van in order to have a little bit of privacy. Now we'll go ahead and discuss the bed. The bed we actually built out of 2x4s. You can see that here. Pretty self-explanatory there. We just went by the seat of our pants when we were building it, and it turned out pretty good in my humble opinion. I have 2 power stations. I have this Jackery that sits up top here, and then I also have a secondary power station down here at the bottom. I use this to directly charge my refrigerator, which is accessible right here. We'll go ahead and pull this out, and I'll put a link again for this one as well in the description. So I've gone ahead, pulled out the fridge, and so there you go. Works pretty well for me as a single person who just has a dog. Additionally, I do want to call out these fantastic 3M hooks. I have them all over the place to be able to hold things like my hat or my hand towel. Fantastic little items to use. Now we'll go ahead and we'll take a look at the front of the van here. So as you can see, we've made some modifications here. Originally, this was what came with the van, but we've modified it to suit wider needs. One of the first things I'll go ahead and call out here is this additional table. I wanted somewhere where I could set, for example, fast food or other needed items. Cup holders was also a plus, so I went ahead and built this. And then one of the benefits of this, actually, if I can go ahead and do it here, but you can actually lower it down, and it doesn't go super far just from the way that we had to design it ultimately to fit the existing architecture, but it allows for the ability to fit into this area and only have this up as needed. We also added additional shelving here. So we have this little set of shelves. I wanted something to be able to hold, lip balms and gum, for example, beyond this particular area. Also added this hinged area for storage. There was already a hole there, wanted to cover it. And then finally, a final shelf up at the top for the GPS. Some additional things I would like to recommend are these fancy little cup holders that just slide right into the side there. I'll go ahead and link those into the description. And then I want to talk electrical a little bit more here. So what we did was we actually drilled some holes into the dash after we confirmed that there wasn't anything on the other side, and we added a couple of different things. So these different lights go to different areas within the van. The one on the right hand side goes directly to this. So one of the things that I'd run into with travel was having the fact that this is a 1986 van is you've only got one area for charging, and that is the cigarette port. Obviously, when you're juggling charging a variety of different things, that doesn't work very well, so we ended up adding this. And so these actually connect directly to the battery, these in particular. And it's additional USB charging for phones, and then another 12-volt port for charging anything that I would need, the refrigerator, the power stations, that is accessible. We also have the additional light there on the left-hand side. That is what is then providing power here in the back to this section that I showed you earlier. Additional power, might have gone a little overboard in the power, but it has worked out quite well in this regard. Additionally, for most of the windows, we have actually added screens. So we went and we purchased screens at Home Depot. We used Velcro, we cut them to size, and then we just Velcroed. And then I just remove the Velcro and pop the windows open when I need some air, but I don't want bugs. I've also got a secret button for here later. Taking a look at the back here, we've done a couple of things. So we ended up actually moving the tire. Originally this was inside, and we removed that and actually placed it here on the back. My aunt was kind enough to do a little bit of welding in order to get that to happen. We also wired a backup camera. You can see it here. And this connects directly to that front GPS that also is a backup camera as well. Opening up the back here, you can see my garage area where I've stuffed various things. You know, the baseball bat every girl needs, the tripod, all that fun stuff. Additional hanging functions here for shovels and various other things you might need. Then down here is my quote-unquote garage. It's got my toolkit and various other random items stuffed in there for my particular needs. Additionally, even though this is really heavy, this does come up for easier access. Now we'll go ahead and we'll discuss the roof. So I'm trying to go ahead and show you here. I actually have two 100-watt panels on the roof. They feed in through here, and they actually feed to a single cord, which its sole purpose is just to charge my Jackery. That was the item that I had sitting on top of the cabinets, not the one that's under the bed. And I just use the solar power to charge the Jackery, honestly, and then use the Jackery for everything else. I wanted to go with something simple. I know people are setting up inverters and all kinds of other things, but I figured this would be the simplest way to get that done. Additionally, I also have an awning here, Napa awning. Required a decent amount of modification to get it on here, but now that it's there, it works quite well in order to keeping the sun off of my body, and I am grateful to have it. What is your favorite part of my van? Any questions on anything in particular? If you'd like a full video on, for example, top 10 items, the electrical, anything like that, let me know in the comments, and I'll be more than happy to go ahead and show you that in a separate video. Thanks for letting me show this off to you. I'm really proud of it, and it works really fantastically well. The storage has been perfect for my needs, and I'm excited to go on some adventures with you. Bye-bye! We added some little LED lights. That was what the big red button was for. So, it doesn't go the length of the van, though that's something we may do in the future. But it is on both sides. I'm going to get a real kick out of driving this at night, for sure.